Some people think that if you wear stripes horizontally or vertically, it makes you look thinner or fatter. So we'll do a very quick experiment, okay? Write down in the comments section whether the video looks fatter this way around, or whether the video looks fatter this way around. Then, maybe that'll actually provide some people who care about that sort of thing a bit more peace and calm and harmony or understanding about stuff. Either way, what the hell. Yeah, it's another video of Nick showing you his rock. Yeah, isn't it lovely? It's my rock. And of course it's my rose quartz. Rather a nice, beautiful specimen that I just love it, okay? Now, the reason I'm showing you this one is I've done a video about crystals in the recent past, and I'm doing this one again because I just want to, I suppose, talk about what people say about cleaning crystals. Now, this is an interesting subject in some respects, because like people, the way they break down ideas and why they jump to some particular conclusions is rather fascinating. Because you hear people saying that if you want to remove all like the negative energy or previous programming a crystal has, one of the things you can do is to immerse it in salt. And then other people say, no, you can't immerse it in salt, because if you do that, the sodium chloride can have a resultant effects upon the color and the chemistry of the crystal itself and affect the outside of the crystal. But other people say if you're going to use salt, which is a crystal in its own right, you got to clean the salt, which involves like, praying and charging the salt, or laying your hands over it and giving it some kind of anointing and blessing. Other people say that you should bury the crystal. Now, this is the most interesting thing that I've heard, because like the idea of burying a crystal would make some kind of sense if it is proven in one form or another that there are, oceans or tides or currents of energy which flows through the soil itself. Through the various rock strata and between different bits of types of mud and the rest of it, an exchange of some kind of ionic plasmic energy. However, you hear people say that sort of thing, and then what do? They place their crystal stones in a plant pot on a windowsill, thereby separating it from the garden and therefore the soil and all the rest of that. So essentially, why the hell would they actually do that? That's the question. Then you've got to ask yourself, what is it that people say about crystals? They say that they can hold spirit's energy. They say that they can have an influence upon the minds and spirits of other people in the area, living people, okay? They can carry a message or carry a spell. And some people are really terrified by the power of a crystal. In my humble estimation, that's a bit crazy, because it's a rock, okay? No real need to be terrified of it. Yeah, sure, there's some strange experiences you can have with them, through your meditations and the rest of it. But to apply quite so much power and quite so much mystical interpretation to what is essentially a rock appears to me to be a bit daft, okay? So, or indeed, if you do think like that, why are you putting your little rock into a plant pot rather than putting it in the garden? It makes no intellectual sense to do things that way. If you're going to immerse it in salt, then is your salt also cleaned? And how are you going to clean the salt? And is your method of cleaning the salt really, provably enough good to remove all like the negative, evil, spirity things which are inside your salts to enable you to clear your favorite rock? I mean, to a certain extent, it makes no sense unless, of course, you realize that the belief aspect and the faith aspect is one of the many things which has a effect or a partial effect upon whether your rock has any power at all. But whether that is the complete and utter explanation is another issue. Some people would say, yes, it is, yes, it is, yes, it is, because like they're that kind of person. But on the other hand, I'm more kind of like, yeah, well, that's a part of it person. But on the other hand, what about all these other strange experiences which I've had using crystals in meditation, for instance, okay? So it makes me feel that, yeah, there may be some objective truth to what the occultists say about crystal stones. But on the other hand, you've got to balance that with an aspect of belief and faith, and whether, you got to think carefully as to whether your beliefs themselves are in fact the most important thing here. Okay? Anyway, just a few more rambles about crystals and salts and that kind of thing. Speak to you soon.